NFL regular season has come to an end, and I tell you what, this playoff picture is looking insane, and I'm going to be talking about that more right after the intro of Sports Talk with JWock. Thank you for tuning in to podcast number 80 of Sports Talk with JWock. I am your host, Jonah Walkenfoos, and I just want to say Happy New Year. It's 2026, and I just want to say we have a lot of good things planned for this year on the podcast, so tune in for this whole entire year and hopefully the future as well, because I have a lot planned for this year, and I'm excited to get going on that. I also just want to say I apologize for basically not uploading last week. I said I wasn't going to upload the week of Christmas, but then the week after I ended up not uploading. I got really sick and I really didn't want to do anything, so I decided just to rest and take that other week off. But we're back. We're going to be back to weekly uploads every Saturday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, so you can always tune into those or listen to them on Spotify or on YouTube whatever you prefer. That is your choice. I might be trying to get onto another platform as well so that more people can watch or listen, but tune in for that. That might be down the road. That's not going to be anything recent. But anyways, if you haven't heard from the intro, the NFL playoff season has come to not the NFL playoff season, the regular season has come to an end, and now it's time for the playoffs. So let's just give a quick little breakdown on how the seeding goes. And by the way, my camera's a little blurry right now. I'm not 100% sure why. I can't really change the quality right now, so if it's not the best quality video, I apologize. But let's get into just how the playoffs are looking from 1 through 7 seeds in both conferences. So let's start with the AFC, where the Broncos are the 1 seed, the Patriots are the 2 seed, the Jaguars are the 3 seed, the Steelers are the 4 seed, the Texans are the 5 seed, the Bills are the 6 seed, and the Chargers are the 7 seed. So we have a very interesting playoff picture where, honestly, I don't think many people would have predicted that the top 3 would be the Broncos, Patriots, and Jaguars at the beginning of the season, including myself. Another big note is the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs. That's a crazy thing to say. Along with the Ravens not making the playoffs, they were close. If you guys didn't watch that game, the Sunday night football game between the Steelers and Ravens, the Ravens kicker missed at the last second, giving the Steelers the win, and their playoff chances stayed alive. Unfortunately for the Ravens, they got eliminated, but I think they're going to be back next year. But overall, it's crazy to just see this playoff picture. Also seeing the Bills as the 6th seed to me is crazy. But that's the AFC picture, and then we got the NFC picture where we have the number 1 Seahawks, the Bears are 2nd, Eagles 3rd, Panthers 4th, Rams 5th, 49ers 6th, and Packers 7th. So honestly, nothing crazy other than the fact that the Panthers made the playoffs. It's pretty crazy how the Panthers and Buccaneers were both hoping for a certain outcome for one game in Week 18, which was between the Saints and Falcons, where if the Saints won, the Buccaneers would have made the playoffs, and if the Falcons won, the Panthers would make the playoffs, and sure enough, the Falcons got the job done. They get the win, and the Panthers are now the 4 seed in the playoffs because they won their division, which a lot of people are actually complaining about and saying that they should change that rule because it should just be by record. But let me know what you guys think down below. I think that would be interesting, but I also kind of don't mind this formatting. But anyways, let's get into my predictions. So let's start with the wild card. We're going to go from the AFC wild card matchups and then the NFC, and then we'll go to divisional, AFC and NFC championships, and then Super Bowl, and then we'll wrap up the video. So let's start with the wild card, where we have the Patriots, the number 2 seed, going against the number 7 seed Chargers. This is going to be an interesting game. We obviously saw the Chargers sit a lot of starters out in Week 18 against the Broncos. That game could have been nice for seeding, but at the same time, the Chargers were playing it smart. They want to get their guys healthy, especially Justin Herbert. The problem I have with this Chargers team is they still are banged up even going into this week. Their offensive line has gone through a lot of injuries and a lot of problems. So that is why I'm going to pick the Patriots, not just because of that reasoning, but also because Drake May, in my opinion, is the MVP of this season. He has been unbelievable. He's had a crazy second year. Them also drafting Travion Henderson was genuinely a unbelievable pick. Will Campbell as well on the offensive line. The Patriots have made significant strides. They also have a first-year head coach, in Mike Vrabel. And in my opinion, this Patriots team's just rolling. I just don't see the Chargers beating them, especially with the Chargers' injuries. So I do have the Patriots moving on to the divisional round. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the number 3 seed going against the number 6 seed Buffalo Bills. This, in my opinion, is probably one of the best, if not the best, games in the wild card in general, but definitely the best in the AFC. The Jaguars have been red hot this season. They've been very surprising to me. I did not expect them to do this well. You have to give credit to where credit's due. Liam Cohen, their head coach, first year, has really turned this franchise around, along with getting Trevor Lawrence to look like the Trevor Lawrence we all thought he could be coming out of the draft, especially when he was playing at Clemson. This is just an unbelievable turnaround, and you got to give credit where credit's due, and I'm going to give them more credit because I think they will beat the Buffalo Bills. They're in Jacksonville, so they're at home. They're comfortable, and I tell you what, I know the Bills have Josh Allen, but their defense is such a liability right now. It feels like it's not horrible, but I just feel like the Jaguars are going to be able to do enough to be able to get the job done. The Bills have Josh Allen, a superstar quarterback. Some would debate the best quarterback in the NFL, along with James Cook, where their running game has also been very solid, but I just don't know if it's enough. If you get into a shootout between the Jaguars and the Bills, I just feel like the Jaguars win it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'll be wrong. Who knows? These are my predictions. This is not like what's going to happen. Maybe it is, but yeah, I do have the Jaguars beating the Bills. Then the final matchup for the AFC, we have the Texans playing the Steelers, and I think the Texans will win this game. The Texans are the lower seed by only 1. They're the 5 seed compared to the 4. But this Texans defense is unbelievable. Their offense is very inconsistent, but this defense just looks really good, and they look really dangerous. And I just feel like Aaron Rodgers could have a hard time. Now, if DK Metcalf's back, that's definitely going to help the Steelers' offense, but I still just think the Texans will win this matchup. Next up in the NFC now, we have the Bears playing the Packers for the 3rd time this season, and also just one of the biggest and best rivalries we've seen in not just football, but in sports. And I actually have the Bears winning again. This is Caleb Williams' first game ever in the playoffs. I think he's going to be fine. Ben Johnson, the first-year head coach. A lot of first-year head coaches in the playoffs, by the way. I think Ben Johnson's going to be able to get it done. They've got a couple players on the defense. I believe Brisker, if I'm not mistaken, is back. So, or maybe it's Kyler Gordon. I can't remember. But the Bears have a great, solid defense, and their offense is clicking. This Packers team, I would say the Packers would win if Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft was healthy. Unfortunately, those two are out for the season, and it's just going to be hard for the Packers. And Jordan Love he's had his highs, but he's also had his lows. And I just feel like the Bears are going to get it done, especially since they'll be playing at home in this game. So I do have the Bears beating the Packers. Next up, we have the Eagles playing the 49ers, and I have the Eagles winning this game. The 49ers have been a very surprising team. Through injuries and all, they are still an unbelievable team. I believe they went 12-5 this season, which is crazy for how many games it felt like Brock Purdy was sitting out, and Fred Warner, and even George Kittle, some of their best players. It's crazy, but I do have the Eagles winning. The Eagles, they won the Super Bowl last year. One of the big things is they're going to have to run the ball well, and I just feel like Saquon's just, he's had a tough season, but I just feel like he's going to just start to do something nice coming into this playoffs, and that's going to be the story to watch for this Eagles team, and it'll also determine how far they can go. But I do have the Eagles winning this game. And then we have the Rams playing the Panthers. I think probably one of the games that I had the easiest time determining who's going to win this. I have the Rams winning, by the way. I I think the Panthers, like, it's been like an interesting Cinderella story. Like, they've beaten some really good teams, but they also just like lose to bad teams. It's such a weird situation they're in. And this Rams team, I still think is going to be very good this season, or they've been very good this season. I think they'll be very good going into the playoffs. They have plenty of playoff experience, championship experience. They're going to get the job done against the Panthers. Okay, time to catch a breath a little bit. Now we have the divisional round, so less games, but more interesting team or more interesting matchups now. Where we have now two new teams into this situation where we have the Broncos and Seahawks. Both teams made it as the first seed, so they got the bye week. So we have the Broncos going against the Texans in Denver. This may be biased, but I think the Broncos can beat the Texans again. They beat them earlier this year. I know CJ Stroud got hurt in the first half. I understand that fully, Texans fans. But this Broncos defense, I just don't know if the Texans are going to be able to do too much against the Broncos defense. Now, as I say that, they're probably going to be able to do something really good. But like, and I'm curious to see how Bo Nix plays, but I just feel like the Broncos are going to have a solid game plan. They didn't have a solid game plan in week 18, but I do think they were, kind of milking it. They weren't really trying to do too much or show too much so that people on film aren't going to be able to know exactly what the Broncos are doing. So I do have them beating the Texans to move on to the AFC Championship. And then we have the Jaguars and the Patriots. That's going to be a big game. That game will be in New England. It's going to be a cold game. And how about it? I have the New England Patriots beating the Jacksonville Jaguars because, in my opinion, it just feels like when you play in Florida, we saw the Dolphins do this. I just don't know if the Jaguars are going to be able to compete in a really cold atmosphere that they're not used to, while the Patriots are used to it. They're battle-tested. They have a solid team. I just feel like Drake May is going to be able to get the job done and beat the Jaguars. It's going to be interesting because you know what? Never mind. No, I'm changing it. I got the Jaguars winning. The only reason why I had the Patriots winning is because of the cold. I'm changing my mind. The Jaguars are winning. I think Trevor Lawrence could get it done. Forget about it. That was a crazy turn of events, but I do have the Jaguars winning. Sorry about that. Next up, we have in the NFC side, the Rams playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks look good. The problem that I have with the Seahawks is, are they going to be good in the playoffs? Because we've seen Sam Darnold many times not be able to get the job done come the playoffs. He did that last year with the Vikings. I think he'll do it again this year with against the Rams. I have the Rams winning. I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFC, and I'm going to prove it by that, and I think they will beat Seattle and stun many people, including some of you guys watching it, maybe even myself. And then we have the Eagles playing the Bears, and I actually think the Eagles will win this. I think the Bears will have a good shot. They'll be at home, but like I said, I think Saquon Barkley's just going to really start to shred up defenses, and he's going to start to figure it out come the playoffs, and that's going to be dangerous, and I do have them beating the Bears. So that sets up for some crazy championship games in the AFC and NFC, where we have the Broncos playing the Jaguars and the Rams playing the Eagles. Starting off with the AFC, I have the Broncos beating the Jaguars. The Broncos lost to the Jaguars by a significant amount a couple weeks back, but I feel like the Broncos are going to be hungry. They're not going to want that situation to go again. The Jaguars don't understand what a compliment is. Sean Payton talked about a small market team, which the Jaguars very well are, but the Jaguars took that personally and took it as an insult when it wasn't even an insult because they don't understand what a compliment is. Because all Sean Payton was trying to say was, hey, they're a small market team. It's impressive what they're doing, especially since with these small market teams, there's not many players, like big name players, that are going to want to join your team, and the Jaguars are still getting it done. So that's all he was saying, all he was trying to say, but the Jaguars obviously took it personally if you look at their social media account. It's funny, but I do think Denver will win and go to the Super Bowl. And then for the NFC, we have the Rams playing the Eagles, and I have the Rams winning this. Like I said, excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this sickness, but the Rams are playing the Eagles, and I think this Rams team is going to win. I think Matthew Stafford's just got that experience. Jalen Hurts does as well, but this Rams team is, I just like with Devontae Adams, if he can stay healthy, along with Puka Nacua, that wide receiver duo, along with Matthew Stafford throwing to them, is just an unreal trio, along with Kyron Williams at running back. I mean, they've just got a great squad there and a really good defense. Great head coach in Sean McVay. I think the Super Bowl matchup will be the Rams versus the Broncos. And this is unfortunately where the Broncos' crazy run ends. I have the Rams, unfortunately, beating my Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl 60 to be exact. I just feel like experience is going to matter so much here. And Matthew Stafford is going to get the job done. I think he will. This could possibly be his last season because I feel like he might retire after this. Who knows? Call me crazy for that. But I do have the Rams beating the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to drop the full-on playoff picture right about now. So you guys can take a nice look at kind of what the playoff picture and my predictions are looking like. Drop your playoff predictions down below. Check me out on Instagram. I'm going to essentially put out almost like a layout for you guys, so you guys can fill that out and send them to me. So check me out on Instagram at Sports Talk with _JWock3. You can check me out. My logo's right there. You're going to be able to know exactly where I am. Check me out on all social media platforms. Instagram, TikTok, X. You can find me on Facebook. I mean, you can find me everywhere. You can find me on Spotify if you want to listen to future episodes. You're on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, check my channel out. Go down below. Hit the like, subscribe, comment down below who you're rooting for in the playoffs. And I will see you all next week. I hope you all have an amazing week. God bless.